Hey, what's going on, everybody? Dave McRae here. Welcome to episode 87 of McRae Live. The date today is Tuesday, August the 4th, 2020. It's 11:07 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And today I welcome a favorite guest of mine, a favorite human being of mine. My lips are wrapped around his left ass cheek at the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right, Cecil Laird is on the program today. We're going to be talking Dylan's New Nightmare. We're going to be talking It's Me, Billy. We're going to be talking everything in between. And it is always great to have him on the show. We're going to go to about 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Cecil's got some things he's got to do this afternoon. He is a busy bee, but he has taken the time out of his busy schedule to talk to me and to you. And I just realized I don't even have my lights on. I usually turn my lights on here. Let me just get my little lights on there. Ooh, there we go. Add some mood in there. 1 second. I'll bring Cecil in here in a second. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to move over to Cecil Laird. Cecil Laird, how are you?
I am well. Thank you very much, Dave, for bringing me back, sir. It's good to be on.
No problem, man. No problem. So listen, I get a lot of questions, believe it or not, from people saying, what's the latest with Dylan's New Nightmare? And I usually give them the same response, which is sort of information that you've last given me. But, as you know, I'm not a producer on the film, so I'm not neck deep into it. So there's only so much that I know, I mean, I'm not there to the day to day. So why don't you give us some, just some insight into where the project is right now? I mean, I have seen a few things that have got me very excited, but why don't you give me some insight? Give the fans out there some insight into where this is, what's going on, what the status of the production is, and what's happening.
Okay, well, let's get right into it and just get cut to the quick and say that we are delayed and it's Dave's fault. So I think that's cutting to the quick, right? But yeah, so yes, we are delayed for now because we had originally planned to film the movie in May.
That's right.
We had plane tickets, we had locations secured, we had everything ready to go, and then, as you all know, we get to deal with this lovely pandemic. And unfortunately, that, pretty much immediately shut everything down. And so we have been waiting for things to kind of settle before we get back into everything. And unfortunately, one of the while things had settled for a little bit, now I would be hesitant to schedule again anyway because of the second wave and us filming here in Arizona. Not necessarily the best thing because we were one of the rapid second waivers.
I noticed, I noticed that. I was paying when the pandemic first began, and we were still looking at possibly the end of May. Like that was likely to move, and you were like, yeah, no, we're going to, but it wasn't 100% yet. I was looking at sort of where the hot spots were, and Arizona wasn't doing too bad at that time. They weren't, at least from what I can recall. And then now, I think over the summer, I've noticed it's one of the hotbeds, which is unfortunate.
It was in the pole position for a while. People are saying to make me louder. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I
could talk like this, but it's not super comfortable.
Yeah, it's not a me thing. It is a Zoom thing.
Okay.
Or sorry, a Skype thing, I should say. So
well, then I will deep throat my mic for us.
What I can do is I can make me a bit lower, so we're a bit more even. We're a bit more even.
Just raise everything. Okay.
Yeah, and I can kind of do that.
Good idea.
Maybe that's so. I've made myself a bit lower, so we're a bit more even. I've had the same issue with when I have when I'm sharing the screen and doing it this way. It's just the reality. I can't put you up any more than that unless you raise the volume on your end. But
it's not all about you, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. It is true. It is true.
No, I'm just messing around, dude. I'm just messing around. So, all right, getting back to it though. So here's where we're at. I mean, there's a couple of things that we obviously have to consider. Well, what I was getting at is we things had settled down for a little bit, but the one thing that hadn't resolved itself was the border between Canada and the US.
Right.
You let us know really quickly, hey, by the way, the border's still shut down. So until that reopens, can't really come down. And
Well,
I don't
here
know if you guys know this, but Freddy is a pretty key piece to a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film. So
that's true, and this is one of the things, and we talked about this privately, but I can talk about this on the show too, because it's just a reality of the situation. Is that one of the things that the land border is closed between our two countries, and in terms of crossing, by car, right? And that is shut down only to essential travel. Now there are some flights that are, which is so strange to me. I don't understand the logic behind this, but there are some flights that are still flying from Canada into the U.S. Why? I don't know, but that is true. The issue that I've run into, and that a lot of travelers have run into, is that the thing that I talked to you about, of course, which is travel health insurance. And right now, I've looked into my bank, which is usually who I go through to get health travel insurance, which anytime I travel to the US, I always have travel insurance, because obviously, not being American, I'm not covered. So I have to have some sort of travel insurance. And ordinarily, it's not a big deal because there's no pandemic. There's nothing. It's just you get the travel insurance, and you're covered for, like, I don't know what it is, $2 million or, whatever it is, right? And so it's not a big deal. But in this case, a lot of the like, there is no coverage. And I think because of that, or I think the reason for that is because there is a travel advisory from the government of Canada. So you're advised not to travel. So if you travel, it's at your own risk. And then I think it's sort of like the mindset is, well, if you travel, why? So now we've told you that you shouldn't travel, and there is no coverage for it. I looked into Blue Cross as well for COVID-19, and there isn't. If you're traveling, I think they said something about on or after March 20th, there's no coverage specifically to COVID-19. So if I was in the US and I got COVID-19 and got really, really sick, that would be a problem, and that's one thing that's on my mind. And it's yeah, because we just don't know, right? What could happen down there, because obviously, being Canadian, I'm not covered by any insurance down in the States. So here it's not a big deal, obviously, but so that is definitely more so is probably my number one concern, is what would happen if I was there and I got sick, and then of course it would uproot the whole. Not just my health, of course, which is the most important thing, but obviously it would, uproot everything. So, it's a crazy time. I'm continuing to search for insurance companies that may offer that, but I've yet to find one. And I think it's because of the travel advisory.
Well, and so to that end, where we find ourselves is in a bit of a crossroads. The movie is still going to happen no matter what.
100%.
I have it. It's secured. We've spent about a third of it already on production expenses, including things going on in the background via wardrobe and specifically makeup effects.
And you're knocking it out of the park. Stuff. Like, you're just, it's unbelievable.
We'll get into that in a bit. That's more the positive side of the production. So we'll save that. So we'll hit him with the sour before we hit him with the sweet. But
I like that. I like that saying.
But basically what's happening is we have to decide, do we want to, so we're at the position now where, say tomorrow Canada's like, okay, we're going to lift the border restrictions. Now we're in a position where, okay, how quickly can we get everything and everyone back together? Let me get the plane tickets. Let me make sure that Airbnb is still available for that one location. Let me make sure the other locations are open and available. Let's scramble, but let's get it done, because who knows how long the border will be open.
Right.
We can do that. I personally, and Vince and I were talking about this the other day. I feel like that might not be the best thing for the production. And then
One
there's
second,
also
Cecil, sorry. Hang on one second. Is Cecil a bit louder now? I just want to know. I found a way to sort of turn it up, but I don't know if he's going to be louder. So just let me know when he starts talking.
they
in
had
the
said
chat.
it was fun. They had said it was better.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever you did before had been fine. So
Okay. All right. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
no worries. So yeah, we can do that, and we can try and kind of rush things, and everything will be in place, right?
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
just now we're in a situation where we have to film according to the new COVID regulations. Okay,
That's what
and
we're
that
facing as
means
well. Yeah.
yes, and so the issue is we didn't we didn't account for that when we were raising the funds for the movie, and there is no budget to specifically for one scene, the opening scene of the movie. There is a bit of a crowd, so to speak.
Right.
There's numerous people, and we don't really have the budget to be able to test everyone to make sure that everyone is negative before we film.
Right.
And we certainly, I guess we could adjust the scene to have those characters all 6 feet apart, but now I'm forced to make the movie in the era of COVID, and when it's not necessarily written for that, and it's going to look odder than what we had set it up and structured it as.
You're
And
talking
that's
about
just,
the opening scene?
yes,
Right.
yes,
Right.
so, and that's just thinking about the actual material of the film, right? That's not even considering the way more pressing matter that you bring up, which is the risk to people, right?
Right.
I don't know about you, Dave, but I don't want to risk being a director that screwed their first professional production that people have given their hard-earned money to by allowing even one person to get sick, and who knows what that can do to their family and friends and whatnot down the road.
Especially as you mentioned earlier, and unfortunately, especially in a state that seems to be sort of having is one of the hotbeds, which is so unfortunate. I wonder if it's the close proximity to California.
No, I think it's the fact that we got a bunch of good old boys down here in Arizona that are,
just a good old boy.
Yeah, they're particular flag wavers that are like, you ain't gonna take my freedoms, and like we're just chock full of idiots down here is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it is what it is. And so what let's say, segueing into the more sweet of this scenario, what it does do is allow us to really dial literally everything in that we might not have even had time to dial in before, including there are already plans, not specific dates yet, but there are plans for me to go up to Flagstaff to Renee and to have us go through the script and start doing some previs on some of the more complicated shot setups. We're going to set some stuff up in his driveway and make sure, because there's a particular stunt that we have to pull off towards the beginning of the film as well, and we don't want to endanger Miko, and so we need to figure out exactly how that's going to happen. And that's
the transport truck off the cliff hanging onto the helicopter scene, right?
Correct.
Right.
Freddie
Okay.
driving the truck and then driving the helicopter. Yeah.
Just kidding,
like
folks.
T-1000ing all over the place. It's great. No, but yeah, so that's where we find ourselves as far as filming goes. So now we may be holding off a scotch longer, and by a scotch I mean maybe even spring.
Right.
So which, that's not a terrible thing, but it would give plenty of time for things to hopefully get control of themselves.
Right.
Hopefully we'll have someone new in charge down here that can kind of whip the idiot Americans back into shape more so than the person we have right now. Trying not to get too political.
I understand.
But nonetheless, again, it leaves us time to work in the background. So again, we have plans in place to go do previs with Renee. There are plans in place to get a lot of stuff done, and there's already stuff in the works, including the other song that we're having made for the credits of the movie. The first one is available on our channel. It's called New Nightmare. It was done by the Wicked One, and that is one of the closing credits songs. And the other one that is being made by Fuego from my channel and his band Chiron.
Right.
I finally heard the first treatment of that, and I actually quite like it. It just needs to be remixed.
Okay.
But it does have it's kind of it's kind of Evanescence-y, to be
Oh, okay,
honest,
that's cool.
it's a metal band with a female singer, and they made it real kind of epic. So it's less throwback to like the 80s songs that I thought it was going to be.
Right.
But it's cool in an entirely different way.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's really exciting. And when everyone hears the perspective of who is singing the song, I think everyone's going to be pretty happy. But yeah, so that is in the works, and we're going to get the remix going on that. And then also the wardrobe department is hard at work getting the wardrobe together, but specifically she had the person doing the wardrobe is actually the person that stood in as our Freddy for the teaser trailer, Courtney, and
Yes.
so she is going to be handling all that. She's the one that weathered the sweater and made some things look cool for the teaser.
Right.
So she is in charge of the wardrobe for the film as well, and she's working on, I can't say exactly what, but she's working on a big piece of clothing for a particular character that she did a first pass at, and then she said she watched the movie again and she didn't like how it looked, so she's breaking it down and remaking it.
You know what I got to say, Courtney, if you're watching, and if you're not, pass this along to her. I mean, that's I mean, there's somebody who makes something, looks as like, hey, you know what, I can do better. I don't think that's, and then she just dives right into it to fix it. I mean, that's awesome shit right there. That's commitment, and she takes her work very seriously, which is great.
Yes, indeed so. And when people see the stuff that she's got in the works, and specifically that item, I think people are going to be very, very happy. So,
right.
Especially those of you that are fans of the original New Nightmare. So, now speaking on, well, that's a good question, Evil Alex. Will you make a music video with Dave as Freddy for the song? There might not be a music video, but when we created the idea for the song, there was an idea for, I personally liked when Freddy would guest on certain songs in the older Nightmare movies. So you may be pleasantly surprised. I'll say that much.
Yeah. It'll be me as Freddy in MC Hammer Pants doing the hammer dance.
Yep. Exactly right. Exactly right. And by the way, I don't know if I should even say this, but a separate conversation that Vince and I had, he asked me a question. And this isn't canon or anything, but if you guys know Vince, the creator of Never Hike Alone, Never Hike in the Snow, but he asked me a question the other day, and the conversation did progress past this, but I'm not going to say how it progressed past this or whether it went in a positive or a negative direction. But
Right.
He asked me a question, and he said, what if Snow and Dylan's are in the same universe? And I was like, huh. And so that was an interesting question to have. So take from that whatever you like, but gliding right past it, I will say
Cecil comes in and just this is like this is like you walking into a room full of 500 people and say you walk in and you say something so ridiculously juicy, but then you just leave with no explanation. You just walk out, and you don't say bye. You just walk into the room and you say
I'll just walk up, I'll point to someone. He's a murderer. Smoke bomb.
That's right. That's it. That's exactly what's happened. That's so funny.
All right. So, but the other big thing that's going on behind the scenes, and the part where, honestly, where one of the largest chunks of the budget is going, and well-deserved for a Freddy movie, is the makeup effects.
Yes.
So if you guys somehow aren't aware, Nora Hewitt, who won her season of Face Off on Sci-Fi, that makeup effects show, she won her season. She's the one doing the makeup. And so currently she's overseeing the sculpting of what our Freddy is going to look like. Because yes, our Freddy is going to be wholly original. Our Freddy is not going to be a pre-made mask that you can get online. It is not going to be something that is modeled specifically after one of the Freddy movies. This is our own Freddy look. It's going to be a mashup of a couple of different looks that we may have seen before, as well as some of our own particular flavor. As a matter of fact, the sculpt was nearing completion, and I gave some notes just yesterday on how we're gonna zhuzh it up a little bit and make it a little bit closer to what I had in my mind. And but where we're at right now, and I sent Dave the pics, so he's up to date on what this sculpt looks like right now.
Fantastic.
But guys, it looks so good. And Nora herself sent them over. Every time she sends me the pictures, she's like giddy, which is always awesome. If you want anything, you want your makeup effects artist for your Freddy movie to be giddy when they're sending you pictures.
100%.
Progress. You know what I mean? And so what she said when she sent one of the rounds of pictures, like, people are going to think Robert's in our movie because the sculpt looks so much like Robert. And it looks so good. And I'm not going to ruin exactly which looks it's going to be. I think we've mentioned it before in other times. But I will say that Nightmare 2 is one of the main looks that we are looking to emulate. There's more than that. But I personally have always thought, and Dave, I believe you agree, that that was the scariest look that Freddy has had.
Hands down. And you know, when you showed me some of the images that you've showed me, and again, I know I've said this before, and I don't want to sound like I'm beating a dead horse here, but it's true. I mean, as an actor, when you see that, my first instinct is, I want to put this on. You know, I want to have this on me. I want to have the makeup on me. I want to lose myself in that character and in the role and become this, you know, this iconic villain. So it just and it's great too, because obviously it just looks great. Like, everything looks great. You know, I can see myself in it for obvious reasons. You know, and it just it looks, it's very exciting, and very impressive work.
Well, not only that, but I wanted to clarify some things because, you know, I've not made a movie where we had this intensive of prosthetics and stuff, or at least the whole makeup, the face makeup, a whole head piece, because you're gonna be in a bald cap, your whole head's gonna be done, brother.
Oh yeah. I'm going all fucking Joe Rogan.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. So that means you got to hate video games too. No, just kidding.
Well, he hates video games. I don't hate video. I'm not a gamer, but I don't play video games.
It's a reference to a recent news story surrounding him. It blew up this week.
I didn't see it. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. He basically said playing video games, it's super fun, but it's super dangerous because ultimately you're spending a lot of time accomplishing nothing.
Right.
And so people are like, he's anti-video games. And the reason he said it is because he was addicted to video games for a long time, and he's had to pull himself away. Anyway,
gotcha.
Sidetrack.
Yeah.
But I looked at the sculpt yesterday, and one of the notes I had was based on another mask that I saw online. And I was like, hey, we don't need to sculpt this in because Dave's going to be able to do that with our makeup, right? Like, because the mask was one of the thick full head masks, and they had sculpted a particular feature on it that I was like, it looks cool. Like, it's a cool resting face for Freddy, but like, we don't need to sculpt that into our makeup because he's going to be able to actually do that with his facial features, right?
Right.
She's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. She's like, we don't need to do that. We're sculpting him in a resting face because he's going to be able to do everything you want him to do, look wise.
Right.
So I was like, okay, cool. Perfect. That's what I needed to know. So yeah, he's going to look really, really good, you guys. And he's going to easily be able to lose himself in the character. But what I really liked is the sculpt is amazing. It's not only does it look like Freddy, but it looks like a mean Freddy, and the detail of the sculpt, because he's got, of course, the burned Freddy look, but there's places where the skin, he actually kind of did a little bit like a little hint of the new Nightmare look, where there are big patches of skin ripped away. There's a little bit of that there, but the detail underneath is so much cooler than what I think it looked like in New Nightmare,
Right.
that I am like super pumped. So I'm really excited for everyone to see it. And one of the most exciting things about it is that we're not showing Miko. Miko is not going to see what Dave looks like as Freddy until we shoot their first scene together. So his reaction is going to be genuinely, well, hopefully genuinely feared.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Now, again, I talked this whole time. What do you think of the sculpt?
Oh, I love it. Like I said, I mean, you know, when you've showed me a few iterations of it over the last month or so, and the first time you sent me the photos, I remember thinking to myself, wow, I can see me in it, which is kind of cool because it's me, you know what I mean? Like it's being done and, you know, obviously it's got to fit me. So I can sort of see me in it, but but it's not Dave McRae. It's just, I can kind of, oh, this is really cool. But you're bang on when you say like, it's 100% Freddy Krueger, you know what I mean? And it's just a cool process to be seeing it. And I appreciate you sharing them with me as well. And because it's neat to be part of, you know, again, because I'm only an actor on this film, and it's nice to have those bits of updates and go, oh, this is really cool. Oh, great. Like seeing the progress happen. And it looks really good. And I can only imagine then when it goes off to Nora and she starts putting her stamp on it and her work on it and really bringing, you know, the mold to life. Because right now it looks really good. Like you said, it looks like Freddy Krueger. And I can certainly see the different sort of style. Like I can see a couple of different, you know, Freddys there, but in a really good way. It looks great. It looks fantastic.
Well, and it's crazy. It's our sculptor. It's a good thing things are being able to be done remotely, because unfortunately our sculptor actually did get COVID. So he had to take a little bit of downtime, but he's back at it now. But yeah, it's already touched the production directly. So
yeah,
it's nuts. But I'm glad that you're, you know, getting more and more excited about it. That's why I share it, you know, because I want to keep my actor engaged. But to that point, to your point of I'm just an actor on this, I would like to clarify that if that is how you're viewing it, because clearly you have a handle on filmmaking and stuff. So at any point, if you've got input beyond just the actor level, don't hesitate to share, because I am already a very collaborative filmmaker,
yes,
and anyone that was there on the teaser will attest to that. So yeah. I'm open to hearing what anyone has to say. I just may not listen to it. You know what I mean? So
I love it. I love it. Well, let me clarify. Like when I say, you know, I'm just an actor on the project, I don't mean I'm just an actor on the project. I just mean
I mean, you are, but
well, I am. Exactly. No, I totally am. But, and that's 100% true. But I mean that during the development and pre-production process of making a movie, as you know, right? There are hierarchies and there are tiers, of course, in terms of jobs. And when you are an actor and you're not a producer or you're not a DP or you're not the director or the writer, you know, there are meetings and things going on without you, and rightly so, about the production and the development that you're not necessarily privy to until it's all been worked out. And then they come to you and they say, here's what we're doing, right? It's not like it is with It's Me, Billy, where I am the writer, the co-director, co-writer, and co-producer on the project, where what we're doing with It's Me, Billy is what you're doing with, you know, Dylan's New Nightmare. So it's hands-on, boots on the ground, right from the get-go. And then our actors are sort of in the same position that I am with Dylan's New Nightmare. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that. It's always exciting to when I get updates from you, or when you send me those updates, it gets me really excited, because it's tidbits of information. It's progress, right? It's these things are still happening, which not to say that I didn't think they would be, but it's always nice to have some tangible evidence of the of the development, and that gets me really, really excited. So that's what I mean by that is you know, I haven't taken an active, you know, production role in terms of producing, so I'm just waiting in the wings, you know, with information. So and I'm happy to do it. I'm honored that you came to me and asked me to do it, to be a part of it. And like I said to you, everybody that's involved is really, yes, playing Freddy is exciting. Seeing the final product and seeing it come together, that's always exciting for an actor. But, you know, I mean, it's just working with everybody involved, you know, feeding off of each other's contagious energy. And that's what really excites me, and making new connections and new friends, you know what I mean? And that's just what it's all about, you know?
Now, to the point that you and I had to discuss that I never got back to you on, I do still want to do that voice stuff with you. So Dave and I are planning to do a little more behind the scenes scoop for you guys. We're planning to have a meeting soon where we're going to go through a particular scene of the movie, and we're going to really dial in the voice.
Yes.
We're going to dial in exactly how he has to deliver it in order for us to achieve what we're looking for after the post, which luckily, I don't know, I think we might have touched on this before, but just to go into it a little bit further with everyone, I had originally attempted to touch up Dave's voice when we were doing the teaser trailer. And, you know, I was getting close and stuff like that, but Dave very, very wisely is like, hey, buddy, you know, this is kind of what I do. So do you want to just let me give it a try? And I was like, yeah.
I didn't say it like that. I don't even think I said that.
No, but
I would not have been that condescending.
I read between the lines, you know, I read between the lines.
No.
But nonetheless, it is, he is a voice actor by trade, in spite of thinking that McRae Live is his full-time job. It is not.
No, it's not.
But so he knows his way around not only a voice booth, but also how to mess around with it afterwards. So he then started to help dialing it in. And so we are going to get together to really kind of work it out and make sure that it is as good as it can possibly be. You know what I mean? And we're not attempting to have him sound like Robert. We're attempting to have him sound like Freddy. That's the big difference.
Well, that's and again, you know, I've said this before on shows we've done, and you know, on your channel and on my channel, and even Miko agreed to this, which is a great sort of vote of confidence as well. Is that this isn't about, you know, imitating Robert Englund. It's not about going out there and doing a Robert Englund Freddy impression. It's about doing Freddy so that the audience, and again, you're not going to please everybody, but the goal is that hopefully most people, when they watch the performance, they hear the voice, they go, well, you know, it's not Robert, obviously, but I totally believe that that's Freddy. That's Freddy Krueger. Yes, that is Freddy. You know what I mean? And that's the goal, because if that can be achieved, then it's, you know, a success. But if you go out trying to do a Robert Englund impression, you know, you're just going to set yourself up to fail. It's like the kid that did the Solo movie, right? I mean, I totally, you know, I don't care if you like the movie or not, but when you watch this kid be a young
I didn't want to tell you if I did or not.
No, I wasn't mean you. I meant the collective you. But, you know, I don't give a fuck, Cecil.
Yeah, I don't care if you like it or not.
Exactly, you son of a bitch.
I didn't say anything, but
yeah, the chat room's like, geez, Dave, that was harsh. But when you watch him, you know, I totally, and I actually quite enjoyed the movie, but I totally believed, I could see that being a young 20-something Han Solo. It's not Harrison Ford, but I totally, he had there's nuance, and there's just the tiny idiosyncrasies, and the just certain the vibe was there, the essence of the character of Han Solo was there. And of course, yes, he looked a bit like a young Harrison Ford. Sure, that always helps. Of course, you need that. You know, you're not going to hire somebody who doesn't look like him at all. But with that, and you know, everything firing, I totally bought it. I'm like, yeah, okay, I believe that. I believe that's young Han Solo. And that's sort of what my goal is, and I think what our goal is in achieving this, is that you look at my performance and the voice, or, you know, whatever, and everything coming together, you know, the camera, the light, the shadow, I mean, everything has to be firing on all cylinders, and you walk away going, yes, I believe that was Freddy Krueger. And I think if we can do that, then it's a success, you know?
Yeah, and I see a lot of people in the chat talking about, you know, the best version of Freddy, 2 or 3 and stuff like that. And to let everyone know kind of what I have in my head that Dave and I are going to work towards is, because when we did a script read through, Dave did a fantastic job, but some of the lines that I wrote, I realized after having done the read through, are bordering a bit on, because I want to try and basically blend the tone of 2 and New Nightmare, if I can, with a soupçon of 3 as well, because 3 is my favorite. I do like Freddy starting to get a little bit fun, a little bit silly, but not like full bore, or even as far as he kind of tends to go in 4. But
Freddy's dead.
No, definitely not that. But like in 3, he's still sinister, but he's fun.
Yes.
So I wrote some lines that would fit in 3, but my direction to Dave was, say those lines. They are meant to make the audience laugh, but Freddy isn't doing it in a way to make people laugh like he was in 3. He's saying it, say him mean, say him like Freddy from 2 is delivering the lines from Freddy 3.
Right.
And so that's kind of where we're aiming. And it's, I think it's going to be a real cool sweet spot for us.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, you know, doing it because I've done several already, you know, with my actors in It's Me, Billy. And you know, as you know, when you do a table read, everybody's firing at maybe, you know, 50%, you know what I mean? Because you're just trying to get used to the lines. You're trying to get used to everybody's.
It's not a critique.
No. I'm just trying to let people know out there sort of how it works. But Cecil's bang on, you know, when he said that, you know, there's and the feedback that you provided and it totally made sense. It was great feedback. And because had you not done that, I probably would have instinctually thought, well, these are supposed to be read with more of a comedic flair. You know what I mean? And then you came along and said, well, I can see why you think that, but here's what we're thinking. And it's great. It's just a great sort of, just great insight into your mind and where you're thinking and where, you know, we'll all be when we're on set, you know, trying to execute it all. So, no, it's great stuff. It's great stuff. And I just, like I said, I mean, I'm still very excited to be a part of this. I get asked about it a lot. And I've often said, you got to ask Cecil, send him a tweet, Adam, ask him. I don't know if they ever do, but they should.
Not really.
Yeah. Well, they should.
I'm open to it. Yeah.
See, and his Twitter and Instagram are on the bottom bar there if you want to follow. Cecil, of course, on Instagram, it's at The Horror Show 666, and on Twitter at Horror Show 666. So don't forget to do that, guys. And of course, they have the YouTube channel. You just have to YouTube The Horror Show, and I think you're like the first one that comes up. So make sure you subscribe to Cecil as well. And
the final word I'll give on it, because then I think we've exhausted pretty much all the updates from Dylan's. The ultimately what I want for our Freddy, like Freddy was pretty scary in 1. He was definitely scarier in 2 in look, but not necessarily in action the whole time. So, and then he starts to have fun with his horror after that. I don't think we ever got to a point where I think he is in our movie, where he's now been through all of these versions of himself. Because again, this is the New Nightmare Freddy, post that movie. And he's even gone through a demonic version of himself. If you remember the very end of the movie, he shifts into his demon and then explodes. So he's got a little bit of everything. And so now what I want him to be is the most sadistic Freddy that we've ever seen. I want him to be mean and relish it. And
arguably the most powerful?
Yes, arguably the most powerful
Yes.
because he's doing stuff that he was attempting to do in New Nightmare, but
Right.
more successfully now. And
Right.
he is intended to be scary, but that's how I can um justify, or that's how I can, there's a word for it, that I just can't think of, that's how I can basically make sure that I can have my scary Freddy but still have my funny Freddy lines, is
Yeah.
if he's really sadistic,
Right.
because then people will still laugh at the funny lines, but he's not saying them like a clown. You know what I mean? He's
Right.
saying them like a real evil dude. That I'm trying to think of a
Right.
good analogy, but Freddy is his own. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, no,
So
it makes sense to, it's that nice balance where he's still it's almost like it's it's almost like, and see if you can follow me with this. It's almost like Darth Vader, and Darth Vader, there's a couple of lines that Darth Vader has in the original trilogy that are not, and again, I'm not saying it's exactly like this, but it's kind of along the same lines where, I mean, he's clearly an evil guy. And Darth Vader at no point is really hilarious. You know what I mean? He's not,
right.
you know, cracking these one-liners. But he's a little cheeky, you know,
Hmm.
but he's saying it as Darth Vader, like the line in I think it's in Empire when he says, you know, perhaps you think you're being treated unfairly, you know,
Hmm.
to Lando, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
no, but it's just like, you know, there's a bit of the, oh, you think you're, but he's saying it like Darth Vader, so you almost kind of. You chuckle at that, but it's a nervous chuckle. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's kind of, I think that's sort of, again, it's Darth Vader. They're two completely different, you know, villains, but it's sort of that, it's in the ballpark of that, where there's a cheekiness to it, but he's dead fucking serious. You know, he's not like, he's
Yeah.
saying it and you kind of laugh because it's absurd, but he's serious, you know, and
Yeah.
so
Also
yeah.
because you're intimidated.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. Probably because you're intimidated, you know,
Hmm.
solely for that. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah, cool. No, it's great to get these updates. You know, I wanted, you know, the fans out there, of course, to hear it from you and what the latest is and what's going on. And you know, it's funny you know, when you were talking about the COVID-19 stuff, that's what we're dealing with up here as well, obviously, in terms of the production when it comes to It's Me, Billy, and Bruce. And I'm so thankful that he, because of his day-to-day job, he works 9 to 5 in the film industry here in Toronto. So he is the company he works for, again, I don't know if anybody or if everybody knows this, but he works for William F. White International, which is Canada's largest distributor of lighting and grip gear in Canada. So he's the national manager of education and training there. So when Hollywood comes up to Toronto or Vancouver or, you know, wherever, which they do all the time, there's a good chance that they're going to be renting their gear from White's. Now, there are other competitors in Canada, but White's is the largest. So, you know, usually it's from White. Like, I know when they shot It Chapter 1 and 2 up here in the Toronto area, they rented, you know, all their gear from White's and all that stuff. So, Bruce is
that what name drop?
that's a kind of a name. Well, hey, I could go on. I could go on. There's a lot. Shape of Water, RoboCop, Star Trek Discovery. Oh, that's a bad one.
Okay, put your dick away.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. It's out on the table here. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Oh,
Roll it up, Dave.
roll it up.
Roll
Okay.
it up.
I'll roll it up. I didn't know. I'm not name dropping. I'm just saying that's what it is, right? But I can see how it could be perceived as that, perhaps. But certainly it's a big company. And what I'm so thankful for, though, is Bruce. He's boots on the ground every day with the protocols and procedures in regards to COVID. And so he'll often email me, you know, several times a week with the updated, you know, procedures. And protocols that have been put in place by the Labor Board of the Ministry of Ontario. So there are certain protocols and rules that we have to follow now as productions begin to ramp up. And thankfully, although we're not out of the water here in Canada, thankfully in Ontario and in Canada, I'm not going to say we flattened the curve, but we are a lot better than some of our friends south of the border, of course. But like you, and I mean, there's a possible second wave that's coming, because not everybody up here is wearing their masks when the weather gets cooler, obviously, because we live in Toronto. So, and in Canada anyway, we're a 4-seasoned country. So by the time September, October hits, it's going to become autumn and fall and things are going to get cooler. And so we don't really know, is there going to be a second wave? Is there not? If there is, how bad is it going to be? So there's a lot of procedures in place that we have to follow. Thankfully for It's Me, Billy, there isn't a scene like you're talking about at the beginning of Dylan's New Nightmare where there's a lot of people in close proximity of each other. But we are following very closely the guidelines of what we would need to put in place. And, there's a lot of things like, masks and sanitizers and temperature checks. And one of the things
the amount of gaff tape for X's on the ground for people.
Oh my God, it's going to be insane. And one of the things that we'll probably end up doing too is, of course, is, and up here, I believe, I stand to be corrected. But I believe up here, at least in Ontario, the COVID test is free. At least it's free right now. Now, whether that stays like that, I don't know. So one of the things that we will probably mandate is for everybody, cast, crew, about a week prior to going to set, is everybody gets a test done. And then when
you just got to make sure that there's availability, because we had free tests available here and I tried to book it and they were booked for like a month's out already.
That's you're bang on. And then there would be temperature checks on the day of. It would be a closed set. Obviously, for those that don't know what that is, that just simply means only cast and crew allowed on the set. And as much as we would love our cast to have their husbands or wives down there, that's just a no-no. It's just a closed set. That's it. And then, temperature checks every day or, on the regular. And, and it's something to keep in mind too, is that, you rather be safe than sorry. But of course, just because COVID exists doesn't mean that the common cold has gone away, or that, you're just feeling tired, or you're run down, or you have a sniffle. Just because somebody has a, one day or a morning doesn't mean they have COVID. So we do have to keep that in mind as well, and not overreact, but certainly we would rather be safe than sorry. So the plan for It's Me, Billy right now, and this could change depending on what happens, of course, is to go to camera at the end of November. That has been our goal for several months. That's the goal right now. But when we talk to John, who's the owner of the main location where we're going to be shooting, we asked if we needed to push it into the new year, February, March, whatever. Is it possible to do that? And he said, oh yeah, absolutely. So the goal right now is end of November, but I mean, as you know, Cecil, it's this thing is a day by day changing thing, and that could be the goal right now, but we could have to push that, come October. So we don't really know, but when you talk about all the shit that you have to think about, I'm right there with you. It's intense. And it's, you don't want to have to think about that, you just want to have to go and do your stuff, and, but, it's the reality of the situation. And so we're taking it very seriously. And, if there are any, if anything doesn't feel right, or whatever the case is, or somebody refuses to, wear a mask or get a test done or whatever, they're just not part of the project. It's just that simple. Yeah. And we've confirmed with everybody involved already. There's still crew that we have to hire. But those that are involved already have agreed, at least verbally so far. We will have a written form and all that as well. But have agreed, we understand, we'll be more than happy to do that. So it's the realities, and by law we have to do it because it's been sent down by the Labor Board now in terms of video and production in Canada. So, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing. We'll probably get, because we'll probably have to wear masks. Well, I mean, obviously when we're shooting, and we'll all have masks on. So I'm thinking about getting branded "It's Me Billy" masks, so at least it goes with the production.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
It's not. Yeah,
we do that myself.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think you should do that. Get masks that say Dylan's new nightmare on it, and at least
I'm making a note.
Make a note. That's what I'm thinking of doing, and because at least then it'll be, it adds something fun to an otherwise. Nobody wants to be wearing a mask. It's not like anybody's like, yeah, I want to fucking wear a mask. No, nobody wants to wear a mask. So having it which of course other, what am I trying to say? So, like, obviously it's not, new. I mean, you have sports teams and Nike, and I mean, everybody's branding masks now, but it's smart. It's good business. It's smart business. People are likely to wear a mask if their favorite hockey team is on it or their favorite football team is on it. I mean, it's psychological, but it certainly is not a bad idea. And we thought the same thing with the production, that at least it makes it a little more fun for, the cast and crew. Obviously the cast won't, be wearing the mask when we're shooting, but in terms of off camera, lunch, all that kind of stuff, we thought about doing that. So, I would look into that if I were you, because that would be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Actually, I did forget to mention, for anyone that's interested, anyone that wants to see a really cool thing that we're going to have very, very limited, we're going to have 3 available as perks. But if you go to the Nightmares Unlimited Facebook page, you'll see that our buddy Mark Phillips did a version of our glove that is a glow-in-the-dark version. So the blades and the actual backs of the fingers all glow in the dark. And so go to Nightmares Unlimited on Facebook, and it's the top video there. So if you want to go see what that looks like, it's really cool, and there's only going to be 3 available.
It's really, really cool. Like, it's really cool. Like, I saw that and I was like, I'm surprised that nobody's thought of this before. And if they have, I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, I was like, what if, and it's funny, what's really funny, going back to your joke about Miko, the only reason I thought of it was because Miko is, so if you guys didn't know, Miko, you can see on his Instagram, it's not a secret or anything.
No.
He's a bit into the rave culture.
Yes, he is.
Or at least he has been in the past. And so I was like, oh, cool. Well, what if Dylan was into that culture, and we had a scene where, Freddy showed up to a rave and attacked or something like that.
I was just going to say
a glow in the dark glove.
Yes, I was just going to say he's dreaming and he's in a rave, but he's dreaming and Freddy shows up, but he's got the glow in the dark cloud. That'd be wild.
So that's why I thought of it. And I said that to our glove maker, and he's like, I could make that, And I was like, oh, really? Yeah. So he made this prototype one for us. And he said he'd be willing to make a few others because we are going to have another campaign, but anyone that still wants to get in on backing the campaign, they can just reach out to me at thehorrorshow666@yahoo.com. And we can still get you in. But yeah, we already have one person looking for one. He said they're a lot more fragile, so they're not something you can really run around and have a lot of fun with, but they are really cool for display.
Right.
As well as they'll be cool if we do end up writing a scene like that or something for the movie.
Amazing. That would be really cool. Yeah, that would be cool for sure. Yeah, it's an interesting time, and I thanked you via Twitter, but I want to thank you in person again for your reaction to our "It's Me Billy" Indiegogo teaser, and everybody involved in that. That was cool. It was I'd forgot, because you had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you were going to post it, and I totally forgot about it. So it was nice to see it up, and I appreciate you doing that. It was cool to watch, and to everybody who did a reaction. Of course, thank you for doing that. And yeah,
dude, it was good. We had held off on watching the teaser until we did that. So the reason we waited to air it, like I mentioned to you briefly, is because there was a lot of coverage right at the beginning of the campaign. And 100%. What I find is there's often a wane
Yes.
in coverage in the midpoint. So I
Yes.
figured we'd use it as a bit of a, hey, remember this is still out there. But if you
Absolutely.
guys want to see how impressed we were with the teaser, then definitely go watch it. And you can even, what was fun about it, what I wasn't expecting was the fact that we were like actually surprised and caught off guard by the voice stuff at the very, very, very end of it. Like we're just like we're talking about the trailer already, and he's like, what is it? Like, I want to kill you or something. I'm
At the
gonna kill
very
you, and
end.
we're just like, what was that? Like, oh shit.
I think
Like
it was I'm gonna kill you.
yeah, yeah. And I was like, and also it got my wheels turned, and I was like, did Dave do all of the Billy voice
I
stuff?
did.
Like,
Yes, I did.
Jesus, dude, that is impressive.
Yeah, I did.
Like, I can't even imagine because you had to have, because that a lot of that is layered audio, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
you had
I had
to,
about
you
7
had to
layers.
break that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
wow, God, like
Yeah.
the amount of layering it would take to make that sound as good as it did. Impressive, dude.
Well, I
But big
appreciate
thanks
that.
to you, sir.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah, like our goal with the teaser was to, and we call it the Indiegogo teaser because we wanted to, people to not, because some people were like, oh, is this the movie or is this the, and I'm like, no, it's, and so there's nothing in the teaser that is from the movie. But we wanted to set a tone, and Bruce and I knew that, ironically, the Black Christmas film that Blumhouse released last December actually in some ways is helping us despite it getting poor reviews. And that is ironically why I think, and we wanted to leave no stone left, unturned. And in the sense of, this is the Billy you remember, this is Billy, he's back. And we wanted that to be very apparent. And Bruce and I went back and forth actually, quite a bit on how much to hear of him, whether to have him, whether not to have him at the end. And we finally settled on what we did because I thought it was important to, especially for this, like if this was a teaser to the actual movie, then we probably would have been a little more inconspicuous because there would have been one teaser, maybe another teaser, and then a full trailer. We're going to roll it out kind of that way. But with just this one Indiegogo teaser, I wanted to leave no stone, unturned, and just like, yeah, this is that bad taste you've got in your mouth from like, we're going to wipe that taste away. And so we wanted to set a real tone. And even at the beginning of the trailer as well, the voice is me too. And that Billy needed to be older, but he needed to be singing the same nursery rhyme as he sang in the first film. So, but I played around with
awesome.
I played with the pitch a little bit.
Your actor's going to have a hard time being you now.
Yeah, well, it depends. We're not like the actor who is Billy in the movie. It's not 100% confirmed. I'm not making an announcement here, but the actor who will be playing Billy in the movie, I may be the voice of Billy, but the actor is the physique of Billy, because obviously I'm not 65 years old or whatever, and we need somebody of that stature
Hey,
to
talk
be
to
able
Nora.
to do that.
She could do you up.
Yeah, that's true. I'll fly Nora in. No, it's me, Billy. Hello. Who is this? It's me.
Depends.
That's right. Cialis.
Where's my teeth?
Hello. I may do that. And it's the teaser, the Indiegogo teaser was sort of that test to see what I could do, how I could pull it off, mix it, master it, and have it effective, and see if people buy it. And most people do. And I think that's a vote of confidence, at least for me, that if I wanted to or needed to, for whatever reason, be the voice of Billy on the phone, that I think I could, and give the original vibe to it. So So yeah, so again, I mean, it's I think we're happy with it. We're happy where the campaign is right now. Naturally, the pace that we had in that first week was not sustainable. I told everybody that. I mean, we had a hell of an opening weekend, and I said to everybody, we made 50% of our production budget in 5 days, which is just ridiculous. I don't even know if that's. It's just insane. And things have slowed down, but we still have about, I think it'll switch to 29 days this afternoon left. We've currently raised in Canadian dollars, I don't think it's moved since this morning. It hasn't. 40,667 Canadian dollars, 67% of our production budget. But if you factor in the $2,000 we raised from the Billy-a-thon about 10 days ago or so, that is actually up at about 42,667, probably around 70% of our production budget. So we're still about 29 days, 4 weeks left to go. So, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. If we can get to, like, as I said, I mean, if we can get another 10,000 in the next 4 weeks, bringing us to 50, I will be happy with that, because then with it, we're planning on doing another Billy-a-thon, and we have a few other avenues that we're looking at in terms of just kind of helping what we may not be able to complete on the Indiegogo. But if we can get to 10,000 by the end of the campaign, I think we're sitting in a very good spot, because that'll be close to 90% at that point. So
for
I think
the
the
next Billy-a-thon, I would recommend doing what we did for the Paint-a-thon, where recommend people have a big thing on your screen that says "Don't super chat." Go and contribute to the page. Have a link to contribute to the page, and then you'll get the confirmation emails live.
Oh yes.
So that way you don't get a third of it taken by YouTube.
And we were going to do that. The reason why we didn't before was because I did some sort of research on this, and funny enough, it's psychological, but funny enough is that people are likely to donate through super chats because of the immediate gratification of it, and you don't have to. So it's like, even though, yes, you're right, we do lose, 30%, which is a huge chunk. But what is interesting about it is that it's like marketing and like if people have to go through, not that it's going through hoops, but if you say, hey, help this, click here, they gotta, click that, then they gotta click on the donation link, then they gotta type it all in, and then they gotta click. There's a bunch of clicks. People are, some people will do it. Some people will, absolutely 100%. But I don't know if we would have raised $2,000 in donations.
No, you make a good point.
And I think people are more likely to send in the super chats because they get something of immediate return, which is us saying, hey, and it's Joe John saying, and they hear their name. There's a euphoria that comes from that, the endorphins, right? You kind of feel that immediate gratification from your donation. And so yeah, that's why we did. I mean, it's possible we may have, but I think when you start to say, hey folks, how you doing? Welcome. Okay, now click here, go over there, click that, send in the donation. We'll get the email. Has it come through yet? Not yet. It might be coming. Hang on. Oh, there it is. You know what I mean? And
no, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And I did a bit of research, and not that people wouldn't have, but I have a funny feeling psychologically people are more likely to send in the super chats than make the switch. But yeah,
you might. Yeah, it's a valid, very, very valid point. So.
Yeah, but so we'll probably do another one of those again. I know Tony, Michael, and I are doing a double feature on Two Dudes at the end of the month, where we'll be watching The Last House on the Left, the original, Wes Craven's first feature film, and then Black Christmas, the original, and all the super chats raised from that will go towards the campaign as well. And we're, we have other avenues that we're exploring. But I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, to be sitting at 40,000 Canadian, which is, I think we're at what, just over 30,000 US or something, is for a Black Christmas fan film that nobody asked for, that nobody may be wanted per se, and it's not one of the big IPs, I think is impressive, and we're blown away. Like, we are humbled and blown away by the love and support from everybody out there that believes in the project, and because I didn't know. I mean, I didn't know if we were gonna, make as as much as you guys made, for Dylan's New Nightmare, or but raise, I should say. Raise is more the proper word. Or certainly with Vince has got a whole empire now that he's created, so he's very successful at that. And I said to Bruce, I remember saying, I don't know. I think we'll raise a little bit, because people are excited, but I had no idea it was going to be this. So again, thank you to everybody out there who has donated and who will continue to donate. The link is in the description to the Indiegogo campaign. It's live for another 30 days. And remember, you can donate as well. You don't have to buy a perk. If you just want to donate $2 or something, you can do that. There is a link on the campaign to do that, and every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. I'm sure Cecil will back me up on this. At the end of the day, these campaigns, like I've said, campaigns are not generally funded, although it's great when somebody comes along and drops a huge bomb and you see your total go up by, $3,000 or $4,000. That's always amazing. But at the end of the day, a lot of these campaigns are funded by a lot of people buying a lot of the smaller perks. And, because it can add up. It can really, really add up. So anyway, yeah. But I'm excited, man. I'm really excited to get this going. Our location is spectacular. Our location.
Yeah, I saw your post of it. It looks great. Yeah, you guys definitely killed it with what you raised. So far, even it's amazing. I wanted to launch our campaign on the anniversary of the release of New Nightmare, so we did that. And unfortunately, I feel like I might have hamstrung us a little bit, but live and learn.
You did very well, though, dude. Like, you still did very well.
Considering the time, we were like trying to raise right before Christmas, which is apparently, I found out after the fact, it is the least lucrative time to run a campaign. But we still raised what we need to make the movie, which is good. But
amazing.
I'm glad that you guys are cruising as well as you are, because that, again, a rising tide raises all boats, right?
100%.
So when good fan films are being made, all that means is that people are going to be, if we can do well with Dylan's New Nightmare,
yes,
and then people see how awesome It's Me, Billy will inevitably be, then they're likely going to be willing to part with a few more ducats next time around. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. I mean, when Vince launched his, Never Hike in the Snow, he had the bait of Never Hike Alone. And when people knew that Vince was going to, it's like, oh my God, hey, you want more of this? Well, we're going to take this and we're going to bring it up here. And it's like, how can you take what's already fucking spectacular and make it even better? And that's what Vince has done, is going to do. And, but it's, I mean, I think he was asking for 50,000 and he raised like 100 and something thousand. It's just insane.
It's nuts. Yeah.
But that's what can happen when you have a proven property, a proven product, in terms of what you're able to roll out. And hats off to Vince, and to you too. I mean, the teaser that you shot with, Miko, I mean, it was like, yeah, this is pro. I mean, this looks fantastic, and if you want to be taken seriously, you got to show that, okay, this is what you're going to get, but times, whatever. And, a lot of people, I remember when you dropped the teaser for Dylan's New Nightmare, a lot of people were saying, like, well, if it's gonna, like, geez, if it's half, like, it looks half as good as that, it's going to be amazing, right? And people have said the same thing about, It's Me, Billy, but it's all, and yes, I mean, do we have connections? You and me, and do we have, access to the resources and the people and the equipment? Yes, obviously it's a little easier for people like us to be able to produce something like that, but we're doing it, we're not making money off of this. We're doing it for the fans. The fans are showing their love and support in supporting us, and we're going to show our love and support. And when I say us, I'm talking about, Vince and Cecil and me and, everybody. We're going to show our love and support by taking your generous contributions and delivering a product that, to the best of our abilities, that you guys can be proud of. You know what I mean? And,
it's exciting to think that people are going to put our Blu-rays like next to the other series. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, it is. Like, to think like if Dylan's New Nightmare turns out to be like spectacular, which again, what is and what isn't is all up for interpretation. It's all subjective, but I have this giddy feeling that it's going to be spectacular. It's pretty darn cool, to think that, it could end up as even though it's an unofficial sequel, if it's really, there are people that think, that just consider Never Hike Alone canon, and if
people were bummed it wasn't part of that big set that was just announced.
exactly. So, who knows? We'll see what happens. Listen, I know you have to get out of here in about 15 minutes or so. Let's jump over to some super chats and see what's going on here. Let me, where are the super, you know what I have to do? Hang on one sec here. I got to, because YouTube has gotten rid of their Stream Classic now. So I have to go over to the other page. Oh, YouTube, why do you change things for the sake of changing things? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's what I have to say. Okay, so let me scroll down here. Just a couple of super chats at the moment. Send in your super chats, folks. Cecil only has about 13 minutes left. He's got to skedaddle, so let's see if we can get them in. Intel Wild sends in a $5 super chat and says, Cecil, where are you guys at on your Dylan Indiegogo campaign budget? Well, I think that's been done already, but I'll let Cecil answer that.
Yeah. We ended up raising about 75% of our goal, which was a little bit more than 30,000. Obviously, Indiegogo takes some of that, and a good portion of it goes towards fulfilling the perks. So, we still had a substantial enough budget that we were able to make the film we wanted to make from the beginning. We were trying to raise enough for the post budget as well, so we didn't have to run another campaign, but because we fell that 25% short, we're likely going to run a post-production campaign once we've filmed the movie. So we will be able to present a new teaser trailer with footage from the actual movie as we launch that post-production campaign to raise funds to get, the editing done, the color correction done, the sound design, the score. I saw someone asking about music. All the music's going to be completely original. Yes, we will take some cues from the original score, but just like we did in the teaser trailer, all of that music was original. The music for this will be original as well. But yeah, so that's the plan. We're going to try and raise that amount that we didn't raise the first time around. Again, I think at the time of the year was really rough for people. Christmas was coming, and they just didn't have a lot of expendable income at the time. So I think we'll be able to make that up. And so we're just doing it. We're going to use the first part of the budget for the actual filming, and then we'll raise the post budget after that, which I don't think is going to be a problem, because knowing what we're going to film, I know we're going to be able to cut together a teaser that are going to make people want to see the product finished in the best way it possibly can.
And there's a promotional, you could even use this in the teaser too, and I won't say it obviously, but there's that idea. I think everybody sort of thought of this because it's just so, but there's that scene between Freddie and Miko, obviously, but I won't say what it is, but there's an image, there's a certain shot.
Oh, yes.
Which I think would be a great promotional image. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. That would be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Very L-shaped, that image.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Intel Wild sends in another super chat. Thank you, Intel. Says, Cecil's Halloween for the next project?
If there is one slasher that I will never make a movie of, it would be Michael Myers. This is a very touchy subject to talk about on Dave's channel. But yeah, Michael Myers has never been super interesting to me. I'll take most slashers over. I'll take over Michael Myers any day of the week. And if you don't have passion for the character, you can't make a movie.
It's true. Look, I obviously am a huge Halloween fan. He's my favorite horror character, my favorite horror movie of all time. But having said that, one of the reasons why I didn't decide to do a Halloween fan film at this level, taking it, to this to this degree was because the Halloween fan film space is so saturated, and everybody and their uncle is doing a Halloween fan film. Not that there's anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And there's different levels. There's some that are very well produced and put together, and then there are some that are obviously clearly friends in their backyards on their iPhones. But
the Halloween fan film sector right now is the equivalent of that video that you saw of the Chinese water park when the COVID restrictions were lifted.
Yes, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Nuts to butts is
that's
what
a
the
good
Halloween
point.
fan film landscape is right now.
And it's one of the reasons why I, in my first venture into like at this level, I mean, I've done little Halloween shorts here or there, but actually for the first time in my life saying, okay, you know what, let's actually do this seriously for the first time. I'm 40 years old. Well, I'm 41 now, but at the time I said, I'm like, I'm 40. Let's do this. I just didn't want to do Halloween because I thought, it's just, I wanted, and there's a romanticism around doing Black Christmas because it's a Canadian movie shot in Toronto. We're Canadian in Toronto. There's a poetic sort of thing to that. And it's people don't really think about it. It's a cult film, but not a lot of people, I agree, there's not a lot of demand for something like this, but we want to be that fan film you didn't know you wanted, the fan film you didn't know you needed. You know what I mean? Or something to that degree. And we saw sort of a void where it's like, well, there's a ton of Halloween fan films, and Vince has got, Jason locked, you know what I mean? I mean, how, are we really going to get better than that? And then you've got, Freddy pretty much locked, and we thought, what? And Halloween, yeah, I guess we could do Halloween, but there's just so much, and it's Halloween. It's Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
well,
Halloweened out.
Going in the movies right now too.
Well, that's it too.
Like, there's not a void to fill at the moment.
That's a very good point. And Black Christmas. Now, I saw on your teaser reaction, I think, I forget who it was, if it was you that asked it or somebody had asked whether Bruce and I decided to do this before the announcement of the Blumhouse film or after.
Yeah, I think I was curious about that.
Yeah, it actually was before, but it was days before. This is what's so wild. I had no idea that Blumhouse was getting ready to do a Black Christmas remake. And I had come up with this, like, I'll say maybe within inside of a week. I had talked to Bruce, here's what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. We hadn't made the announcement yet, I don't think, but we were talking about it. And then all of a sudden, Blumhouse announces they're doing a Black Christmas. I'm like, fuck. Like, are you kidding me? Like, who's, really? Okay, come on. Like, who's thinking about doing this? And then if you go back on my channel and you look at when I made the official announcement, I made it on like July 2nd or 3rd. And a year later, we finally, officially launched the campaign. But anyway, yeah, so it was a few days prior, which is kind of funny, but that's why. I mean, we wanted to do something that had a hook, being Canadian from Toronto, and something that nobody's doing. And
Can I do a brief reenactment real quick of you? This is you finding out, okay?
All right.
This is you finding out that they're doing a Black Christmas.
And this is 100% real, folks.
Yes, exactly. So this is definitely, I had cameras. So he was just like, yeah, no, Bruce, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. Wait, hang on. Did I get a news notification here? What? Oh, come on.
That's
Wait,
exactly.
hang on. Let me see. What is the plot? Oh, no, we're good. Bruce, we're good. Did you see what they're doing with this one? No, we're good. We'll keep going on ours.
Dude, as soon as I was scared of that. I was, you're totally right. And as soon as I read the synopsis, that brief synopsis, I thought, oh, it's okay. Yeah. I think we're okay. And like I've said, I mean, listen, I don't want to, I'm not, I will say this, that I believe that people should be able to make the movie they want to make. I think they did themselves a disservice. I think calling the movie Black Christmas was a disservice because they erased the only thing that's Black Christmas is the fact that it's sorority girls in a sorority house. But I mean, there's a couple of movies that are horror movies that are not Black Christmas where that has that, Sorority Row and, so on and so forth. So it's just sort of I think they should have called the movie something else. You know, I think if they had called it Slay Girls, or which is the subtitle of the movie, I'm not saying it would have done great, but I think I think calling it Black Christmas and then having an overt, very prominent political, it's not subtext, it's right there. I think nobody likes to be spoon-fed and force-fed things. And, you know, there was a great quote by somebody that said, it's not a movie with a political message, it's a political message with a movie attached to it. You know, and I think it just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
It's a political message with a movie accidentally stepped on like a piece of toilet paper on the message's heel.
Right. And I think if you had not called it Black Christmas, there wouldn't have been this, where's Billy, where's Agnes, where's this, where's the phone call, you know, what's going on here? And it just called it Slay Girls and allow it to live on its own merits instead of riding the coattails of an IP. Then you let the chips fall where they may. But I think they did them. It's not a, look, I've seen the movie twice. It's not awful. Like, it's not like you watch it like, oh my God, but you can't help but think, I don't like this movie. This is not good because it's called Black Christmas. And you're like, this is not Black Christmas, you know, and it was cut down. It was clearly shaved down to PG-13 to get more young girls into the audience. I mean, you can tell there's odd cuts and edits in places that you can tell there was more happening there. It's just unfortunate because it's not anyway, no, our film is a direct sequel to the original, set about between 45 to 50 years later, and follows, of course, the granddaughter of Olivia Hussey's character in the original Black Christmas, Jess Bradford. It follows her granddaughter years later, and Billy makes his return in a mansion, which we're very excited about. So let me see here. Okay, a few more minutes. Did any other Super Chats come in? Did I miss them? I don't think I did. Oh, wait. Let me go back here. Okay, there's Harry Muff. Harry Muff just likes sending this in because he wants me to say his name. Harry Muff. Hey, Dave, you and your show rocks. Thanks, Harry. Harry Muff sends in a super chat and says hashtag BBB, which I think just means bring Billy back. That's what we're planning on doing, my man. That's what we're planning on doing. And then, and then I think that, I think Intel Wild might have, yes, Intel Wild's got a couple here. Oh, no. We've already seen that. Okay, I think that's good. That's good. Johnny T says, but Dave, you're the Halloween guy, and if you produce something that blows the rest out of the water, who cares how saturated it is? Well, that's true, but I need to have the desire. I need to have the fire to commit to a Halloween fan film at that level.
Not only, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but the money's been spread around already too. You got to consider that.
That's true too. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but you're bang on. You're absolutely correct. Let me see here. Any other questions for Cecil before he skedaddles? Robert Thidoff says, thank you, Cecil. Will do. The horror show. There's Cecil right there. Justin Simonson says, hey, Dave, would you consider to have more fan film directors on the show? My friend Zach Mull is creating a Scream fan film called He Knows Your Name. Yeah, possibly. It would depend. I can't guarantee that. I always like to sort of have pick and choose wisely and whatnot, but possibly, yes. You never say never. Gary Rangel says, Dave, would you like to see Nick Castle do more action like Walking Scene or Kill on Halloween Kills instead of a one-shot cameo? Yes, I would. Frank Riker sends in a super chat and says, for the sexy MFers in the chat. Thank you so much, Frank. Really appreciate that. Let me just scroll back here and see if we missed anything for Cecil. Bianca Santos says, Cecil and Dave, you guys are the man. We're the man? Maybe the men. The men. We're the men. We are the men.
No, when we get together, we Voltron into the man.
I love it. It's so great. Bianca Santos says, with the length of time Dylan's new nightmare will have, would it be enough to tell a story without it feeling rushed?
Yes. It can easily function as its own short film, as well as the first part of a possible 4 or maybe 5-part series.
There you go. And then when you put them all together, possibly, maybe, perhaps it ends up being...
There was one other question, actually, I think would be good we can answer real quick.
Yes.
Someone said, if these films do well, do we plan on trying to make other films? You go first.
Other films, like original films?
They didn't specify.
Well,
so
I would say,
answer,
I will say this. Yeah, we've gotten similar. I've gotten similar questions before, and I think that's what the person means. And the answer is yes, absolutely. When we talk about other original films that are, you know, our own creation, yes, I think part of the reason why doing fan films is such a especially at this level, high production value fan films, is because A, they're fun to do and you get to play in the sandbox of your favorite horror characters and properties, and it's fun. But it's also a great way to cut your teeth, you know, because again, I mean, like Cecil, this will be my first venture into creating something at this level, and it's an opportunity for us to show what we can do with a proven property and a proven IP. And then, you know, you can use that as a catalyst, you know, to help drive interest into other original projects that you may have. So for me, definitely, I mean, there are some ideas that I have on the table that I would love to produce. I have scripts that I've written that are original, that are not connected to any big horror, you know, characters. So for sure, yeah, definitely for me. When it comes to It's Me, Billy, is there potential for more? I can't say anything yet.
That generally means yes. So my answer would be, first off, just to sidestep real quick, because no one's actually asked this yet. Edwin Sordo asked, are you guys intending to make It's Me, Billy, and DNN R-rated, even though they're fan films? And mine, yes. Dylan's New Nightmare will definitely be R-rated. I am not pulling punches.
That's a great question. For It's Me, Billy, I will say probably yes. It may be a softer R, and the only reason I say that is because we're doing, you know, Black Christmas isn't A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's not Friday the 13th. The original Black Christmas has a very specific tone to it. It's more of a, you know, it's old school, more of a psychological thriller per se. And we want to honor that. The integrity of that is really important to us. So we want to sort of capture the same style, that theater of the mind style that was the original Black Christmas. So we're not going to be, you know, there's not going to be gore and blood all over the ground and slashing and stuff, because then it becomes it's wait a minute, is this Black Christmas or what's, you know? And I know that the remake in 2006 was gorier and bloodier, but we want to honor the integrity of the original and make it more psychological than anything. So it wouldn't be R because of any gratuitous violence or blood. If it was R, maybe some of the things that Billy is saying on the phone, or, you know, something to that degree, perhaps.
No Bobs or Vagana?
No. But don't let that fool you. You know, I mean, if you like the original Black Christmas and you enjoy that style, you enjoy that because it is you know, it's an acquired taste, right? But if you enjoy that style and that old school Hitchcockian kind of slow burn theater of the mind kind of thing, that's very much what like this will be like. But do people die in the movie? Well, yes, of course. It's a horror movie.
Matthew Mills, to clarify, he's right. They won't be rated because they're not going through the official rating system.
That's correct.
As far as the level of intensity, yes, it will be R. So the only Ryan, it was your joke. But nonetheless, getting back to the movie thing, and probably the last thing I can answer here is yes, I would love to make more. I have written 3 scripts that are completed. One I was literally touching up last night, going on a read through. I'm gonna amp it up because it's a one location horror thriller, and right now those are really sought after because of the quarantine and because of the pandemic.
Yes.
So I actually have a number of those, so I'm trying to touch those up. One of the scripts is my own slasher that I created in the vein of 80s slashers that I've already talked to some people about, and the idea is if Dylan's New Nightmare does well enough and people start to believe in me enough as a filmmaker, and I get the right people involved, then we might try and do a little short segment from my slasher movie to try and raise money to actually make that.
Yeah, like a concept piece.
Yeah, that might happen after the first Dylan's thing, or it might happen a little bit further down the line. We'll see. But yes, I fully intend to continue the filmmaking. That's always been my two goals have always been to have a family and to make movies. And my first kid's coming in December. So,
I was just gonna say, I've
next.
yet to. I think God, if I didn't, then I'm like a horrible friend and an even worse
sure
Freddie. But I think I congratulated you on a post, or I hope I did. But you're right. I totally forgot about this. I forgot to even mention it to you at the beginning of the stream, dude. Yeah, congratulations. You're gonna be a dad for the first time. That is amazing. Little Freddie coming out.
Yep, I had fun making that announcement. I was like, what's the most horror baby announcement I could possibly make?
It's a boy.
Yep, I had to throw that sound bit in there. It was awesome.
Do you know if it's going to be a boy?
It is.
It is. Very cool. Very cool.
So yes, hopefully all goes well with that. But yes, so my filmmaking journey will continue. I mean, I've been trying to do stuff for years. I've made a number of short films. We've actually reacted to a couple of those short films on my horror show channel. So if you want to jump over to there, you can check those out. They're buried a little deep, but just look up our first short film. We have our first short film and then our first short horror film that are both on the channel, and we reacted to them. So if you want to see how far we've come, you can definitely do that, because that's like 20 years ago at this point.
Amazing.
But thank you, Dave, for having me on. I greatly appreciate it. I gotta run the cat to the vet.
For sure, Cecil. I really appreciate you taking your time. Thanks to my moderators, Frank Riker, Tab of the Short, Jason Nyke, and Darren Sands, for doing what you do. It is amazing. You guys are amazing. There's always a chance that, there's the one super chat there that came in. Oh, no, I got that, Frank Riker. There's always a chance I might be back between now and Thursday with a standalone video. You never know. But if not, I will be back on Thursday morning at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 88 of McRae Live. What will I be talking about? I don't fucking know. Maybe Cecil will be back again. I don't know. But yeah, Cecil, thanks so much for coming on and talking some Dylan's New Nightmare. And it's me, Billy. Really appreciate you doing that. And folks out there, I'll talk to you guys soon. Any last things you want to say, Cecil, or you're good?
I need to tell you how we can fix your Skype setup, because I found a solution. I used to have to do the desktop capture, but I don't have to anymore.
Wonderful. Yes, you can. Wonderful. Share that with me after the show or in a message or whatever, because I know you got to go. So, all right, folks, in the meantime and in between time, we will talk to you soon. Cheers.